Well, hello and welcome back to Fixer Upper Farm. If you're new here, welcome. The whole idea is that we're trying to do things relatively cheaply to fix up an old rundown small farm property to make things better, more productive, more fertile, more structurally sound, and in this case today, more abundant. So I'm going to take some of this welded wire fence that we used for the chickens that are behind me. This is what we have left over, and I'm going to attempt to build trellises for raised garden beds that have pole beams in them. I don't want to use just poles. I think the trellis idea would be, better. We'll just see how it works for the first year. So join us today as we get started doing that small project. This welded wire fence is not going to be as rigid as like a regular fence panel, but it's what I have on hand, so I'm going to do my best to make it work. I may have to reinforce it with some sort of stakes on the outside, but we'll see how that goes once we get into it. The way I tried to do this was attach it on the outside of the boards so it's easy to remove if I don't like it, and then bend it over the board so that these pole beans sit and already have access as they continue to shoot up to wrap around and begin to vine their way through. Something else I'm going to do here. I don't have quite enough of this welded wire fence, and I'm really not sure I'm going to like it all that much because it seems a little flimsy in the wind. But I'm going to take these old fence stakes and take this and make like a tomato cage for the beans in this area to grow around. I'm going to stick these in the ground, and hopefully that'll help hold it from falling over in the wind. That's my plan anyhow. We'll see if that makes it a little bit more sturdy. I think what I'm gonna do then is I have a couple of shorter, they're like cut off T-posts that we pulled out of the ground from the previous owner's fencing. I'm gonna take some of that and put one down the middle of each of these to kind of prevent them from wobbling too much. Maybe that'll give it just enough stability that it won't blow over in high wind storms that we might get through the summer months. I think something like that will give a little bit better stability. Now this hopefully doesn't rock back and forth quite as much. So with the cage, I think what we'll be able to do is kind of coax these beans to utilize it. Maybe even be able to get that one to coax over there too. For the rest of these, like, we can move some of these leaves into the trellis, but eventually they're gonna have to learn the proximity of the cage and grow into it themselves, which I think they'll be able to do perfectly fine over time. Some of them just aren't quite tall enough yet. So we'll just leave these go and see how they do. I think that's going to help with some stability, just to prevent from rocking all that much. And same over here. And the rest of the garden is doing quite well. So we've got a pumpkin, pumpkin, that's a pumpkin. We've got 1, 2, 3 zucchini. Watermelon just broke ground right there. And then this is a row of sunflowers, and this is a row of green beans. These are not pole beans, they're the bush beans. So we'll have to see how those do as well. And I'm pleasantly surprised there really aren't that many weeds growing up. We're about 2 weeks out from planting. There really aren't that many weeds growing. I'll be able to manage this pretty easily. Like picking out some of those dandelion leaves and stuff won't be all that difficult. And for now, while we're close to the chickens, because these guys tend to want to get out, we're using some of the Premier One piglet netting around the garden. I have an extra piece laying here as well. And we use one of these for the chickens because they can't get through it, and our chickens don't seem to fly over a 3-foot high fence all that much. So this is 30 inches and it keeps them contained for the most part. That's the garden tour and update. Over here we have carrots growing. You can just start to see little green sprouts starting to come up. There's a row in the middle and then one on either side. So we'll have to wait and see how those carrots end up doing. And it'll be fun for the kids to come out here and be able to harvest things like green beans, which we can a ton of, and the kids all love it. So hopefully it ends up being fruitful for us this year as our first go around with a garden on this property. Eventually we want to take this garden and push it out toward the chicken pasture a little bit and extend it this way quite a bit as well to get a large garden area, and then we'll have to move those garden boxes, but that's for another day, probably in another year. And we've got the random volunteer pumpkin plant that's growing in the compost. Look at how big this guy is. Just growing tells you how fertile your compost is. Just growing straight up out of the compost pile. Excellent. So we'll get some pumpkins from here as well as hopefully what's in the garden. These are just a little bit further along. So thank you guys for watching. That's a quick little tour of the garden and a little bit of a DIY trellis situation. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see how it does through the rest of the summer and into the harvesting months later in the year. But I appreciate you guys being here. As always, I wouldn't be necessarily thinking as thoroughly through some of this stuff if I didn't anticipate some of you watching. So you're helping me be creative and a little bit more on my toes in my thinking, and that'll hopefully make the improvements that we do around here at the Fixer Upper Farm a little bit more long lasting. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you right back here for the next video.